Hey, this is Anney.
And Samantha.
And welcome to Stuff One Never Told You, a production of iHeartRadio.
And today we're featuring a delightful documentary rom-com, as I call it, titled Patrice the Movie. I was telling Anney, because I was in charge of this outline today, a peek behind the curtain, it's everywhere. I take it everywhere because the style is, first of all, it's wonderful. I have a lot of emotions, a lot of anger, loved all the friends. Like it's a lot. So I hope you can keep up with us and my mindset in this movie, as in like how my mind works. You're kind of seeing, because it was one of those moments of like, I wanted to talk about everything. I had a lot of emotions. My partner and I watched it and we both were in tears a couple of times because we were kind of like frustrated with them. It's a lot, but it is a 2024 movie. So spoiler alert in it, I guess. Worth a watch. It is on Hulu. You should, not a sponsor currently, but it is, again, a delightful movie. Worth a watch. Worth getting those numbers up. I hope they get a lot of views for this movie. This documentary was directed by Ted Passon, who teamed up with Patrice Jeter to tell her story with the help of her own work and writing, art, and her friends. Here's a bit from their site, from patricethemovie.com. So, Patrice the Movie is part of a disability rebrand in the tradition of films like Crip Camp, Fire Through Dry Glass, and I Didn't See You There, which seek to center stories of disabled people and move the storytelling lens from the medical model of disability to the social model. And y'all, if you listen to our book club, you know what we're talking about with that. So go back to the book club.
Yes. Yeah. It's really a good one.
It is a good one. You should also read that book.
Yes.
We need to go back to our book clubs where we were going to do actual book club style.
We wouldn't announce the book at the end so people could read it. Yeah.
I feel like we need to try. We are so bad at deciding until right before. But anyway.
Yes.
We're also the same with the movies, to be fair. But with that. So Patrice was the lead production designer for this movie, by the way. And for the play portion, which is a part of the documentary, her artwork was recreated by the art department as the sets. And they're really good, actually. Really, really good. And the scripts of the movie was created out of the stories Patrice would tell or the interviews that she had with them. They would actually get all this down, write it up, and then have her memorize and use that as the script, which is phenomenal. And the movie featured disabled actors to portray the disabled characters throughout, which, again, I love. Like, they took a whole company and used them. And then they also took a whole company and used child actors for that. They were all protected from, anything. It's actually wonderful. And they do a really good job in portraying these characters. And just as important for them is the inclusive cast and team, of course, but they also made sure that accessibility was there by hiring an accessibility coordination team. And as it should, they said that accessibility included emotional support. So a bit more from their site. It says, accessibility also included emotional support. A trauma-informed counselor, Dr. Laura Quiros, met with Patrice weekly during the majority of production as we delved deeper into more difficult memories from the past. And in that article, they go on to say, our goal was to match Patrice's generosity in sharing her story with creating an experience that could be as healing and cathartic as possible. We hope our production can help normalize these practices in the industry.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that so much. I love that they took that time to make sure that all of that was available, because it is a story that has a lot of trauma, but also a lot of like growth for Patrice. And she is so kind to share those stories with us and talk about the reality of her story. So I love to see that this film was so aware and had such an amazing practice like this. And yeah, it should be normalized. Why can't it be?
It should be.
Anyway, moving on. So with that, here we go into the plot. Again, it's a little scattered. Apologies. And oddly, they didn't attribute any of the actual friends in any of the credits. So I was really kind of annoyed by that situation because I'm like, why are they not getting credit for being a part of this? I'm sure they are, but IMDb didn't include them. So annoyed. But they did have all the kids and all the people who portrayed some of the stories, but they should have had some of the friends because the friends were amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I loved them. Anyway, going on. So we meet Patrice and her partner, Gary Wickham, who were preparing for their big performance in an ice skating competition. I don't know how to ice skate. I just want to put that there. So I was like, what? Yeah.
I'm bad at ice skating. I feel like a horrified look is overtaking my face.
Yeah, mine too, because I was like, what? So they are a big community who was a part of the ice skating competition for, I believe, the Special Olympics. They talk about their journey and they introduce us to their life. Patrice is one of the best school crossing guards, one says, in the world. And beloved by so many, including the school kids, and she loves them, and she loves her job. With them are their friends, including Elizabeth and Delaney. Elizabeth is a real one. Delaney is too, but Elizabeth is a real one with like her activism and her work. I just want to put that out there. I was like, yes, girl, let's be friends. So with that, we find out that Patrice and Gary are in love and would love nothing more than being able to get married or at the very least be able to live together. Unfortunately, listen to our past episodes, due to their disability benefits, they are not able to get married without losing a big chunk of it. We witnessed the struggle that Patrice and Gary are going through, navigating their relationships, their job, their benefits, and their social groups throughout this time. They decided instead of a wedding that they would hold a commitment ceremony, which is also risky, apparently. But with that, they decided they're going to have bridesmaids. Elizabeth and Delaney are going to be bridesmaids and groomsmen and such, a reception and an official ceremony with their friends. Unfortunately, they run into a lot of challenges, including the fact that Patrice's car pretty much falls apart. Like the dude who was looking at her car was like, I would tell you to never use this car again because it's going to fall apart, literally in half. He was like, you're going to have issues.
Yes.
He even giggles a little bit. He was like, no, I wouldn't touch this car if I was you.
And she's really like, this is like my life's blood.
She had put in a lot of money. She had already did a little bit of a fundraiser to get this car. She's done a lot. And she had to get it used. Like she had to get a not great one. And it only lasted a couple of years because this is what she could afford at the time. With that, of course, the economy, the way it is, I get you. It's getting a new car. That's impossible. They're like, what? It feels so impossible. She and Gary go to look at actual vans that are accessible for wheelchairs and so much more. And she discovers that the most reliable van that she could get costs around $50,000. Like he was like, it's just a low 50,000. And I gasped. My heart hurt because that's definitely way more than the car I just bought. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
We see her going through trying to get credit, trying to get approvals for a huge paper. Like the numbers were like, oh my goodness. Gary was like, are you sure you want to do this type of thing? And we see that she does not have enough credit. Her credit is not good enough to get this type of rates in cars. And there's no telling how much the rate was. Like my mind was spinning on this one. Because we also know that the stipulations for their benefits as it currently is that they're so strict they can't have a certain amount of money. They can't have over $2,000 in their account. If they do, their Medicaid will go away. So having money for cars, homes, anything along those lines are impossible for them to do. But this is a beautiful moment through the help of her friends and online community. She was able to raise enough money to get a reliable car. I don't think she knew they were doing this. She kind of sent out hey, y'all, if you can do these things, like they collect cans and they're going through drives. They're doing all of these different things and they're getting minimal. Elizabeth was very frustrated by this, by the way. She was like, why are we doing this? You're not getting enough money. At one point, they gave I think 2 large trash bags and it was $16.
Yeah.
So very frustrating in every way. But again, through the help of her friends who rallied behind her and just talked about how amazing of a person she is and how she deserves this and how this is a lifeline. Because at one point, she thought that she was about to lose her job. She was able to get that money. She verified with a fundraising organization. They're like, congratulations. And she just goes into like silence. It's a beautiful moment that she's able to buy the car, and she goes and gets it and shows it off. The dude comes back and gives her the car, and he's like, you deserve this. I hope you love this car, type of thing. Which also was in my head. I was like, well, if she really deserved it, you would have helped her instead of told her it was $50,000. But, you know.
Yeah, this is also, just a note, we did talk about this on the episode we did on marriage and disability, but you can't use GoFundMe because that counts as income.
That's right.
So she had to find a separate thing so it wouldn't register as income.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, with going on, and throughout the documentary, we actually learned Patrice's life story and the difficulties she and her family, specifically her mother, had to struggle through in their own relationships and in the society at large. Her mother kept her out of institutions as much as she could because she worked at one and she saw how awful they were. I think this was in the 70s. Until there was a whole conflict because Patrice went to a dance and her mama did not like this, and her mama did not trust her because she was definitely infantilizing Patrice a lot, and things became physical. And at that point, she is in an institution. I think she actually got into detention center. And in this, she also talks about how they kind of progress in their relationship. We understand how Patrice saw her own childhood because this, by the way, she had this play ready to go from when she was young. You actually see clips of her filming things, and then you see clips of her drawings that made it into the sets. And also her walking through the complicated relationship with her mother. And she admits, these were the bad things that had happened, but I know my mom did the best she could. She didn't know what exactly she was doing in all of this, but she came from the era of the 70s where her dreams were to be a ballet dancer, and that never worked out. Like, there's so much into this that she had, and her mother had a lot of fears for her. But the very last day, she got to sit and joke with her and have laughs before she died. And it was just like, oh my God. So a lot of closure there. So it was beautiful. And she has a great relationship with her older sister. We see a clip of her also during that fundraiser too. I was like, tears. I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
We also see that friendship that blossomed into romance between her and Gary, as well as her fighting to get the job that she loved. She talked about the industry and how bad it was. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but like, she was not qualified for anything. And then all of a sudden she's like, you know what? I want this job. She goes to the mayor. She's like, I can't prove to this that this was discrimination, but I'm pretty sure it is. And then she was able to do it. I loved everything about that. Like, yeah, girl, you're a fighter. Absolutely.
Well, she went in, didn't she interview 20 times?
Yeah, she interviewed so many times. And finally she was like, what? Why? And she was like, you know what, Mayor? Yeah. I'm like, yes, advocate. She's an advocate. Also, in the documentary, we see Patrice and her friends come together to continue to fight and advocate for the rights for the disabled community. Patrice throws out this idea. They have a whole support team meeting talking about the marriage inequality and how this is really bad, and they really just want to be with the person that they love. And she goes you know what? Why don't we go to DC? Why don't we go to them and as couples and show them who we are, how much we love each other, and so they can see us and know that we are here, we exist, and we have the right to love each other. And she's like, you know what? Let's have a ceremony there. It was great. So they did this very thing. And in this, it was a beautiful moment. She does a whole little ceremony for them, and they all kiss, and it's such a cutie. But in all of this, Patrice and Gary are going strong today, from what I gather. And though they are still fighting for equal rights for disabled people, they're not quitting. And this film was a part of that conversation, that she's not asking for more. She's asking for equal.
Yeah. I mean,
I feel like that should be a thing.
I'm with you and your partner. It's a beautiful movie. The artistic, the way they do the flashbacks where it's designed as if it's from a child's mind is beautiful. It's interesting. I love all the nerd things that were in there.
Yes, I didn't talk about it. I'm so sorry.
No,
There's so many. Wonder Woman from
Star
Jump. Wars from Jump. There was much of it. Yes,
it was a very beautiful. There's so many beautiful, sweet relationships. A lot of the scenery was very beautiful, but I knew this stuff.
Yeah.
And it still infuriated me. Like the
Yeah.
fact that you can't have more than 2,000. So she couldn't even save for a car. They couldn't even live together, not even get married, live together.
Right.
Like it just. So it was a movie that was both like a beautiful, this is amazing experience, but also my goodness.
Right. Like, you don't want this to be, like I said, they're trying to step away from inspiration porn. They want to center the disabled community and actually have disabled people represent themselves in their own stories, which is exactly right. But at the same time, there's this level of like, but it has to be a bit of an inspiration because they do not have these equal rights. That it has to push to people to be like, this is inhumane. Please, can you see us as human? Is a plea. And it's such a like intensely imperfect and like irritatingly anguish that you just like you feel like you can't do anything. It's like overwhelming level of like why is the government like this? Why are people so insistent on making sure people can't be happy?
Well, even the lawyer at one point, they go to a lawyer and she's just like, feels like she's near tears and says, well, the history was this and they're just not going to change it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So we've already kind of jumped into it, but I'm gonna name this themes and thoughts because they're not all themes. Okay, so we're gonna put this section as themes and thoughts, and we're gonna have a conversation. And this is where I say my mind was kind of scattered because I just started typing quotes and going through like this and this and this, and this is what I found. So hang tight with us, listeners. We'll get to that point. You know how I like to expand. But of course, one of the things that it needs to talk about is the different relationships. The number one relationship, obviously, because it is a rom-com, which I did appreciate the beginning scenes of them getting into bed together and having just a very normal couple time. Like,
they were so cute.
They were like, oh, well, I'm in bed. I can't turn off the light. And I'm like, to be honest, yeah, that's us. I'm like yelling at my partner upstairs while I'm in bed, come turn the light off. If we didn't have Google to tell us to do this, I have automated things, then I would have been like, yeah, the light's going to stay on. I'm too tired. I'm not getting up. I've done everything. But we do have that love relationship between Patrice and Gary, who found each other, who Patrice got friend zoned first. I was like, what? What'd you do, my girl? No, you don't know. The first denial. And it took some time with them growing and helping each other in times of need. And like, this is where, like, again, they're not necessarily limited people with disabilities. They are together and they can function if they have the right things, as we talked about in the book club, and having partnership. That helps so much. And she was taking care of him and his love grew for her. And then he's like, you know what? You're not sleeping on the couch. Come to bed with me. I was like, I love that he put that in there. It was so cute.
Yeah. I felt like there were so many moments where there were instances of people saying things that we as society think are taboo. And one was her best friend was like, oh, I farted or something like that. And she laughed. She thought it was great.
They all have those moments. He talks about eating too many onions. He's like, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah. But I think because, as we were discussing in the book club episode, there's been so much we don't talk about these things. So that's shameful and all that stuff. And so it was really refreshing to just see people do that, disability or not, when you get really comfortable with somebody.
Right.
But I can understand when you don't know somebody that well and they're already willing to be like, you know what?
Yeah.
That it's like, okay, we can actually talk about these things and you won't make me feel like I'm strange because of it.
Right. And I mean, there's also this level in the love between them is they're like, they didn't know. We loved this conversation that they had about coming together and truly loving each other. And they have such a couple moment in which she's in such distress because she's scared about her losing her car. She's scared about not being able to go back to her job. She understands like she can't qualify for these loans, all these things. And she doesn't know what to do, and he doesn't know what to do for her. All the things that he's doing for her, he's trying to encourage her, he's trying to help her, and then like he turns to his friend and he's like, I feel like there's only so much I can do, and I feel helpless. And it's the thing is like these moments where everything is stressed out because of money, which hers is like tenfold because again, the level of stuff that she has to keep in order for the benefits is kind of one of those moments of like, yeah, this is a couple. This is being a couple and how you're doing together with each other and understanding sometimes you don't know what to say and that's okay. You're just there when they're celebrating together. When she finds out she's got that money, the way he holds on to her and she just breaks apart into his arms. Like that is love. That's a partnership. It's such a beautiful partnership. And that fact that they want to grow old together. And then they had to kind of face some of their own familial background when it comes to like the fact that her mother really truly felt like she could never be in a relationship. They're going to take advantage of her. They're going to do these awful things to her, or that she can't have friends because they're not going to understand her. They're not going to be her. But she was like, wait, I can make friends. Oh, I will have lots of friends. That's amazing. And then as well as saying like, for him, like his family who all from what I gathered died, and he felt so alone, and learning some of their life lessons and being able to see someone as family. There's so much to that. Also found out his dad was in a video for Public Enemy. Did you notice that?
Yeah, he did say that.
And they pointed out, I was like, oh, that's him. And then he's like, also, he's a bigot. And I was like, well, damn.
Yeah. He was real quick to bring that out.
But I think that's honesty, and like because she is a Black woman, he's like, I have to let these my parents would not like her, but I know that's their prejudice. And I was like, yeah, well, you know what? At least you know.
Yeah.
At least you know. Maybe you have some baggage with that, so good on you. So there was like just some honest conversations in that. So they really were adorable and wonderful trying to figure this out. He was absolutely 110,000% behind her, which often happens in her activism right there. But like she was doing work and he was proud. And I love seeing a man support his girl.
I also love in the beginning, it opens, as mentioned, with an ice skating scene. And she's kind of ironing her outfit, her Wonder Woman outfit. And he's like, so I'm supposed to spin here. And she keeps like kind of correcting him. But it's a sweet moment because he goes out and does it. But it's kind of this like jokey moment between them of where he wants to go support her. He's going to go do it.
Yeah.
But he's kind of like, so remind me again.
What is happening? What are we doing? Yeah. And of course, she's in charge of all the things. That's the other part of that. It's very relational. And we talk about these things as if it's bigger. We're not trying to say, oh, aren't they cute? It's literally like, no, they're showing us this is their normal life.
Mm-hmm.
And the things that are holding them back are literally what governments are not providing.
Yeah.
Which would give them
again, she could have made the money if she could have saved the money.
She loves her job. She wants to keep her job, but she also has to make sure she can't make over a certain amount to actually provide for them because healthcare. Anney and I just talked about our healthcare. We as people who are seen as able-bodied, it pays our bills a lot. It pays a lot of money in our insurance. A lot. We have so much debt already. Like. In the amount of what we just for a regular doctor visit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's absurd. So I cannot imagine if you did not have these benefits and if I had to have medicine on a constant or equipment on a constant, which actually I might.
Well, and also like somebody has already made the comment to me, well, your insurance is going to go up from just this one thing.
Right.
And I was like, okay. So I mean, yes, it's not, they were living perfectly fine. The government was putting in all of these obstacles to keep them from living. It's just, to me, it sounds so absurd. Yeah, they just want to
A
live
happy-
together, get
and
married.
what would be the status quo life? Like what
Yeah.
people want us to do.
They even say at one point, like, what changes if they get married? Why is it? It's not like their disabilities changed.
Right. Their
Why are
disabilities
you-
can't change. Like,
Exactly. Why are
and
you
also-
taking it away?
Right. Okay. So we say this and that's what's kind of the point of the movie is like, no, the only things that are holding us back is not our disabilities. It's the fact that, again, we're not being treated as human and provided the adequate care, which should be automatic. Anyway, but the friendships. Oh, I adored these friendships. And there was a moment where we are introduced to Elizabeth, who has been diagnosed with autism. And she talks about, her life and what that looks like and having a lot of sensory things and being very aware, very self-aware of how she functions and what she needs to do for those diagnoses. She talked about the fact that in her childhood, she was diagnosed with bipolar and they wanted to institutionalize her, but the parents were like, no, we're not doing that, and was able to get a better diagnosis. So she was really talking about how her parents helped her out with all of that. And I'm telling you, she is a real one. The things that she was saying, she was fighting and arguing, and I get it, because I get to this point too, in that same realm of like, okay, this doesn't make sense. This is injustice. Why would they do this? I just could not grasp why things would be the way it was. And I love that. We did have a moment in which Elizabeth was very supportive of Patrice, especially with the car stuff and understanding this is really important. This is something that is going to make or break a lot of her life decisions and a lot of the things that she depends on. And at one point, Patrice calls her and talks to her, and she's like, I'm so sorry for making you do this. I know that you don't want to do this. Are we okay? And Elizabeth was like, what? Yeah, I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed by having to touch sticky stuff and having to deal with this, and I'm frustrated that you can't get money and that people are holding you back and the government is holding you back. I'm not mad at you. And she has this quote that says, and this is what Elizabeth says. She says, there shouldn't be contingencies in friendships. And I was like, Elizabeth, why? I did. This is kind of what I did. I was like, oh my God. And at one point, Patrice explains, I've been really scarred by past relationships and that she's been told that she's too needy.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was so scared that she was going to lose Elizabeth because she thought she was being too needy. I'm not going to lie. That moment broke me a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel that.
I do too. I also have to say I loved, I feel like you don't, at least in my experience, you don't too often get a realistic depiction of somebody who has that type of autism.
Yeah.
And they really showed it. And I'm glad that they did, because I'm like, yeah, people have these sensory issues. They have to go in the dark of whatever it is. And that's another thing that I think a lot of people, able-bodied people, misunderstand.
Right.
Is they think disability looks this one way. So I'm glad. I really appreciated that they showed that.
Yeah. I mean, she definitely had a moment where she was like, this is too much, it's too loud. And she was getting anxious and over the top. So she had to remove herself and go quiet in the room. And she kind of explains that. And she was kind of annoyed that she had to be in the dark room by herself in a time that was to celebrate and plan for her best friend. But she handled that well. She knew it. She knew where she got. And to that point, we have a conversation with her and Patrice again. And Patrice is like, hey, I will never put you in that position again. You are worth doing these changes for. I'm so thankful for you. We're good. I was like, oh God, this is the amount of communication that was happening was a joy. Mm-hmm. Again, Elizabeth, I loved Elizabeth. And that friendship, we'll talk a little more because she's in and out. She's all through this thing. Mm-hmm. But of course, we also see the difficulties with family. We kind of talked about it at the beginning about the relationship between Patrice and Gary, and just also her relationship with her mother. And she goes to a real in depth about the things that they went through, having derogatory terms, being yelled at her by her mom. She was kind of surprised and couldn't figure out why that was happening some of the times, as well as her relationship with her sister, and, wishing she could be like her sister and could be around her sister more. And again, we hear Gary's relationship with his family. Again, I think it was a little more complicated as well. A lot of things, but he really loved them and they really cared for him and was there for him. I cannot imagine losing your family, your entire family.
Yeah.
In that way. But there was so much to that. And then having their chosen family, like having the friend groups that really rallied for them, the coming around eating the fruit cakes and all the stuff. I love friendships. Of course, like also we talk about like the independence when it comes to this conversation about disabled people's, and it makes it really hard for them to be independent, not because they can't, it's because of the roadblocks the government puts up, the society puts up, than anything else. She has a conversation about her owning her first home when she was actually like declared independent from her mother, which her mother kind of fought her on. But she won that. And then with that, she was able to get a home because there was a program, I believe, before the Bush era. And then the Bush was like, f*** them.
Yeah.
Who needs rights?
No, take back my that's not what I meant.
Anyway, but before then she was on that program, was able to get a house, and she was so excited. Everything was so great up until more roadblocks. And then she needed to get a job in order to get all these things. Because yes, the disability checks, surprise, they're not enough for someone to truly live. Literally, we have a moment of Gary being like, I paid all my bills. I have $58. Okay, now I need the internet. I got $20. I was like, oh my God. And he was actually really happy about that.
Yeah. And they're trying to put together this commitment ceremony, which we're all excited for because they have such a beautiful relationship. I hear this $58 number, and then the car breaks down, and it's just like...
I'm not going to lie. I have the memories of like having the 3 jobs, living paycheck to paycheck, and the anxiety that just rose into my chest, hearing those numbers. Yeah. And I get it.
I mean,
and he was like, I was doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. And she's like, me too. And I was like,
yeah.
But back to, but trying to find independence. She does talk about, I love some of the things that she did the minute she moved out, including she talks about, I had ice cream at 4:30 a.m. because I could. I had ice cream for breakfast because I could. Like, I had loud music on. I had friends over. Like, all of these things were quite like, yeah, that's that feeling of independence at first. There are moments where I'm like, I'm an adult. I'm going to eat cereal for dinner. No one can tell me squat. I'm going to eat ice cream for lunch. I've done this, y'all, recently.
You know, it's I think a lot of us can relate to this. When you move out and you're like, you know what?
I'm going to do what I want.
And then about a year later, you're like,
I can't live like this. Essentially. She does talk about the fact that she knew she had to get a job. She was borrowing money. People are telling her, this is what you chose. You got to do these things. So she does. And this is what we were talking about earlier when she was trying to get the school crossing guard job and they kept telling her no, and other jobs and they kept telling her no. She finally settled to what was called a sheltered workshop, which I'm not going to lie, I don't think I knew much about this, which is really unfortunate because my whole grad paper was about child labor. But it was international. So that's bad on me. But sheltered workshops, essentially, they just hire you for menial jobs with giving you pennies based on how much you do.
Yeah.
And she called it sweatshops. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're not wrong.
She was assembling American flags as well, by the way.
Yes. And the holidays or the big days and a big push. And she talked about how some days she would have $51 for a check and some days it's 77 cents.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what in the...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she did talk about that. And then again, her advocating for herself and being able to be like, you know what? It's time. Why can't I be a crossing guard? Let me do this.
Because it said specifically in the thing, no qualifications necessary. There was something in there that she was like, Because they always asked her, "Are you qualified?" And she'd be like, "Well, it says no qualifications necessary." And they'd be like, "Get out."
Get out.
And so that's why she went to the mayor.
We call you back. Here's the thing on top of that too, though. We do talk about job applications, and we need to have more conversations about this, about no experience needed, but then 5 years of experience, but they want you to be newly graduated. And you're like, how does that happen?
Yeah, that whole process, we need to rethink that whole thing.
I think what people are, because people are real tired of these people having too much power.
Yeah.
Well. Anyway, moving on. Of course, another part of this is the marriage equality, which we have been talking a lot about recently. It started last year when a listener kind of brought it to our attention, and thank you very much. And Anney did a full episode, and we're back to it again, talking about Lori Long and the acts that they're trying to push. And with that, of course, this was a big part of that conversation about to normalize disabled people or people with disabilities wanting to be in loving relationships like anybody else. Like, that doesn't make sense that being married should cost you benefits. As in fact, a lot, like, people who are getting married with children are getting a lot of benefits, a lot more benefits than not. So I feel like, do we understand this differences? Yes. So it talks about one of the quotes they say in this, it feels like they punish you for feeling the feelings everybody else feels. And I believe that was Gary.
Yeah.
Who talks about this. It's like it's a punishment for a feeling which is encouraged otherwise. Like, literally, that's a whole objective for Project 2025.
Yep.
But we know when it comes to white supremacy, what this looks like, white patriarchal supremacy, and what this is about, because they are purposely punishing it, especially with this new bill that we've talked about a little bit earlier, with them cutting Medicaid and a lot of benefits, SNAP, SSI, all this, and this whole new label in theirs. They suddenly co-opted and say, if you're able-bodied, and they get to decide who's able-bodied, as a reminder.
Yep.
But if you're able-bodied and able to get a certain amount, I think that, again, it still cuts your benefits.
Yeah. They just don't want to help you at all, honestly.
They give no shits. But with that, they do a lot. They're doing a lot of activism. I'm sure they're still out and doing more activism. They talk about how, this is, again, Elizabeth. Elizabeth, I know you probably don't listen to this, but I'm a fan. I love you.
Yes.
So she says it's dehumanizing and ableist. You're a human being. Like, she's so angry about what is happening. This is when they're sitting there, I think, talking with a lawyer. She's like, this is ridiculous. And she goes on. And the lawyer is trying to, like, interject, but Elizabeth has to make her point about how dehumanizing and how this is so ableist, and how that they are human beings that are in love. They want to be together. Why do they have to be punished? This should not be a thing. We should be able to do what we need to do in order to just live our regular lives with joy, freedom, and independence. And she just loses it. Like, she doesn't lose it. She says it very articulately and just keeps going. And I'm like, yes, Elizabeth. I love that she comes in and just advocates. Because Elizabeth's like, I'm not really interested in relationships. All of the sensory stuff says no to this. Mm-hmm. I'm cool without it. But they need this. They want to be happy. I don't understand why they can't.
It's great.
She's a real one.
You can tell, like, she's kind of coming from that very logical, this just doesn't make
I'm with her.
It doesn't. She's completely correct. But yeah, she was a great advocate. Yeah.
They had so much time for her, like, to be able to explain everything, because she's like, this is not rational.
Mm-hmm.
This is inhumane. Disability rights are human rights. And they kept saying this as their chance, and it's absolutely true. Of course, again, they did the planned trip with the couples to D.C. They're asking for the repeal of the marriage penalty. Again, they did the performance marriage ceremonies. By the way, and Lori Long was there. She had a small snippet where she did got on the stage and spoke. I have a feeling, I think this is maybe the same one that she had helped organize as well. I think she was a part of that. Because I remember they said they did a whole ceremony too. But it was her. I was like, hey, that's her. I don't think they ever say her name, but I went and looked it up. I'm like, I'm pretty sure That's Lori Long right there. Yes, girl. And just a side note, this movie actually garnered attention and a statement from the Social Security Administration. So I thought this was interesting. This is released on September 2024. So it's pre-bad times, y'all. Pre-bad times. Anyway. So this is what they said. All of us at the Social Security Administration want to recognize Patrice Jeter, Gary Wickham, and everyone involved in the Patrice the movie, a documentary that focuses on the couple's concerns about losing their disability benefits if they got married. And they go on to say, our agency stands ready to assist Congress as it works to address outdated laws and to strengthen programs like the Supplemental Security Income, SSI, that serves millions of people with disabilities throughout the country. Enacted 50 years ago, the SSI program provides payments to people with disabilities and older adults who have limited income and resources. In that statement, if you want to go back and look at it, he does go on to talk about how outdated it is. And he does talk about how it hadn't changed. And so I believe since the 80s, and that it is time for change. But he also says, but we can't do that. It has to be Congress.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now that it's 2025, they went the opposite direction.
They sure did. They sure did.
So I hate this. But I thought it was interesting that it made such an impact that the Social Security Administration was like, we need to go ahead and say something.
Yes, somebody say something.
Let me go ahead and say something. And it was the person in charge at the time. It was credited to him. But anyway, also we have an appearance with Jimmy Panetta, who was also talking to Elizabeth, and Elizabeth wasn't having it.
Yeah. He was basically kind of being very diplomatic, and she was like, no.
No, sir. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell them. It's not going to fly.
Yeah.
I love her. Again, yeah, I love Patrice and Gary, but I also am a huge fan of Elizabeth. I'm like, yes. In that, of course, there was a lot of hardships that we talked about before. The car, the benefits itself, just in general, helping with friends. I love that when she did get the car, though, she takes them all for a cruise.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was quality.
Does.
That was quality.
That was
in the
good.
Red with her dice in the mirror. Girl, yes.
She puts those dice up immediately. She's like, oh, yeah.
Love it. Again, talked about the ability to, the possibility that she would lose her job, even though she was like, can I get a location closer to me? Which they were like, there's no availability. And there's so much to that I'm like, oh, but I understand. Like, this is kind of the priority, but they really weren't able to work with her or weren't willing. I don't know. She did not throw them under the bus. It did not seem in her way that she was trying to or saying that they did. So I don't know for sure. I did side-eye it, though.
Yeah, it just felt like she was she was a really popular crossing guard. And so it just felt, I don't doubt that maybe it was true, but it just felt like you can't help her out somehow.
Right. Like, there was a bit side-eye. Also, again, with the dealerships and car people doing car salesman things, they're like, we got you a really good deal. And don't get me wrong, I know they're expensive to have, but we also know how much interest and how much they get in profit. So also side-eye.
Yeah.
To them.
Oof.
Anyway.
Hurt my stomach.
Right. Again, the likelihood of losing benefits. I don't think we need to, I want to reiterate how unbelievable that is in this whole level. Like Jimmy Panetti talking about how this is how they cut costs. They said that's too expensive to cover all people with disabilities. Understanding that, yes, they are, as we say, if you go back to the book club, as Emily says in her book, that they are the largest minority group. Sure.
Well, also, they make the point that it's more expensive if they're institutionalized or hospitalized.
Right. Also, like, that's the other conversation. Is like, how much money do we really need to help other people's wars?
Yeah. Yes, of course. There's
how much money do we need to put in creating new detention centers that are privately owned?
None. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. Is like, it's not even that much money.
It's not. Are you kidding me? It's not.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but all of that is that the level of ridiculousness in this. And to the point that we talked about in our feminist or activists around the world, where the SSI worker or Social Security office worker was like, no, you wouldn't lose your benefits. That's silly. And then coming back and we're like, oh, yeah, you would. My bad. Like, it's so unbelievable that you would automatically assume that wouldn't be a thing.
Right. Because
it's not that much to begin with, as you said, Anney.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. And we're moving on. But also the theme or thought to this was like the self-sufficiency that they're really seeking to show that they're okay, but they can take care of themselves. And even if they need some help, that's just some help. They're still self-sufficient in many ways. And that's what needs to be understood, that if we normalize this, it wouldn't be a wow thing, or it wouldn't be an inspirational thing, or it wouldn't be a fight in anything. And like, it should just be. And like, I loved how Patrice talked immediately about the fact that she loved her trains, that she could draw. She's already written her biography, play-wise. This is what this was. She already had her own children's show.
Yeah.
Like, there are so many things.
I just want to reiterate her fashion.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Iconic.
When she did the commitment ceremony, I was like, okay.
That dress was gorgeous. Gorgeous.
She's just you can tell she's got all these hobbies. She's got this flair.
That train village.
Oh my goodness.
That was professional and like level of work.
What,
to me.
It was called
that
Patrice land? It was
P-land.
P-land. Yes.
P-land.
It looked
taken
amazing.
After the Palisades. I was like, what is this? All functioning and working. Like, all of that to say is like she is fine. She is self-sufficient. She cooks for herself. She cooks for her man. She cooks for her friends. Her man knows how to take care of themselves. He has like figured that all out. And we didn't talk about this in Emily's book, but Emily talks about how she puts on her jacket, which is a little different and a little more difficult and takes a little more time. But she's done it for so long that she's fine. And she likes to do it on her own. She doesn't need help. And that's that same level. Like, they have it like adapted to how they need to, much like myself in any ways on some things. When I'm hurting to get out of bed, I have to roll. And I'm okay with that. I figured it out.
Yeah. I try to have my good ear on one side. I figured it out, you know?
You figured. Like, this is self-sufficiency.
Mm-hmm.
You just need to have accessibility. Oh, I think that's going to be our theme for the rest of like life. And also, like, when they do ask for help, they will ask for help. Gary and she were a team.
Yes.
She made sure that she had things that were able to give him accessibility to everything. Like, I love that partnership in itself. Like, that's that conversation that we need to have. When Elizabeth needed to take time away, she did. Mm-hmm. If she knew she needed gloves to be able to work with her, she did. Like, all of these things. She needed to work some things out. She let it out. And Patrice was like, okay. I love that.
Yeah.
And then, at this point, when we were talking about the fundraisers too, again, the self-sufficiency, like, this is great and all. I'm getting money like this and all. And again, Elizabeth says this. There's so many, she just killed it. She says, disabled people shouldn't have to fundraise to get their needs met. It just means the system's broken. I think we've said that a lot about like fundraisers for doctor's bills and medications. And like, why are people having to fundraise? Why is the insurance that we're already paying not covering it? Why are the government who are selling us that we need to be healthy and provide these things for you not covering it? Why are we putting extra money in taxes that are going to things that we don't want it to go to instead of to our care?
Yeah. Well, and as mentioned too, it was going to count towards their income if they used GoFundMe.
And that would have absolutely crashed all of our disabilities. Because it's not a constant thing. That's not. I'm sorry, $50,000 barely makes a year to do anything.
Yeah. I only laugh because recently a friend of mine was telling me, like, remember when you would hear $1,000 and you would think, oh, wow, I've won so much money. And now that's like where's that going to get me? Like,
Right.
I won't say no to it.
Right. That's like a payment and a half for a car if I have to get a new one.
Right. Yeah.
And on top of that, of course, we have to talk about community, the way they rallied behind her for the van, the way the community came together to do the disability activism in DC, the community that comes together as a support group to talk about these frustrations. Like, I loved every bit of that and how important that is. Still not big enough. It should be bigger, the community that is. That when they come to rally, they really do rally.
Yeah.
The community that helped put the ceremony together, commitment ceremony, and so excited to do so. The community, like, she came together to help the skating community because they needed someone older to help out. And I'm like, they really have been supporting each other. They really do support each other.
Yes, which is something we've talked about several times, just in terms of any kind of intersectional issue. But I know when it comes to people with disabilities, that community focus is so important, because it shouldn't be, oh, this person is such a pain. It should be like, this person is part of my community. And so I will help them because I want to, and they'll help me when I need it. Like, that whole thing. Instead of viewing it as a lot of our government would like us to view it as, they're mooching off the system or something. It's instead like, nah, some people, we just need help sometimes. Let's help each other out.
Also, that's what the government is supposed to be. It's not mooching off the system. They're already supposed to be doing these. This is what they're supposed to be doing. Like, this is not, what do you think? Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. But the community, it is very lovely. I am very glad they put in the point, though, that, like, it shouldn't be this way.
Right.
About the fundraiser, because so many, I feel like, of the kind of inspiration porn things are like, oh, the community came together and it's great. And it is. But also,
well, there's also been an excuse with much of the conservatives. This includes, because I think of my family in this way, but like, that with the community supposed to get together, it's not the government's job.
Yeah.
But yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And then on top of that being like, but the church, and like, the church does.
Yeah.
They've done nothing except completely help themselves, maybe.
Yeah. I have a friend of mine's dad is like one of the most conservative people I've ever met. And he at one time made a big show of giving someone, an unhoused person, I don't know, like $20. I don't know. And he was like, see, now I know it went right to him. And if I gave it to the government, I would never know. And I was like, well, okay, sure. But
that's a problem.
$20. What are we going to do? You made a whole point.
I have a feeling he's the same person who'd be like, no, they're going to use it on drugs.
Yeah. He was really just trying to show me up. He does that all the time. Anyway.
I mean, to be fair, I want to stop giving to the government too, because I know they don't do shit. You're not wrong, but we should hold the government accountable.
Right. And also your $20 is just not going to do it. Right. I'm sorry.
What are we doing with this $20?
We need another system.
What are we doing with it? Okay, moving on. Again, working around the system was not necessarily a theme there, but I was like, they were trying to do what they could, talking about how they had to do these things so that they can continue to qualify. And many people were like, that's scheming. I'm like, what? Just like, what? What do you, the fact that they have to do this is already, that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Not that they're doing it, but they have to.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, again, Elizabeth really killing it with those things. Like, what is the problem? Like, I think so many people are just like, you know what? Okay, we got to do what we got to do. And they're just used to it. We're just used to it. And it shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be that way.
Yeah.
And then lastly, because I think like it's good to know, because they were trying to stay away from it. And I think they do a good job about the inspiration porn, about, as Emily from Demystifying Disability talks about, like pity porn, and how they really took this and made sure that Patrice was the center of the story and she was telling the story. and that she was protected. And I think that's something that's so important because we've normalized inspiration porn in order to get people to care instead of making it understand, no, but that's not what we should have to do. You should care immediately. And these stories should tell you what we're trying to do and whose story we're trying to center and why it needs to be. And I think that's that. They did a great job. Again, there's a lot of things, of course, with different programs like this that we don't have the authority to say this is good, this is bad, this is good representation. We get like other people's opinions who are in that community to let us know what it is. Like we let them dictate with this, but I know this was really celebrated for the work, especially again, the way they brought in the different types of care and normalizing care for the actors themselves, the type of actors that they brought in to be a part of the show or the movie. I think that's so important. I did look up to see how much Patrice made and how much everybody made. I couldn't get that information. I think she got like, I saw a number of 20,000 at one point, and I could be wrong. And then, of course, she is credited as a writer in here and a creator in here. So I think she'll get more and more money. Documentaries are really kind of iffy. I know that.
Yeah.
With like money making and all that. They had merch for the movie, specifically to the movie, and like going to organizations that are actually affiliated with this. So I did see some of that. I believe it was under the Philadelphia film. Ooh, y'all, I'm so sorry. You may be able to just find it on their site in general, which is, again, the www.patricethemovie.com. But they have a lot of different resources. And yes, you can do a lot of activity and fundraising. Help, Hope, Love is one of the fundraisers they have on their nonprofit. And I think that's how she actually got her van. That's the organization she used. They also give you information about their disability language, as we've talked about previously. It's a really great site, so you should go and look up. They also have apparently John Oliver did an episode about disability benefits with Patrice. Did you know that?
Yes.
I don't think I saw that. Okay, that
was when I was not paranoid, but I was like, they keep doing episodes soon after we do episodes and someone listening to our show, which I'm sure it was just like the zeitgeist and no one listening to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they do another episode, we know. But yes, so
you can numerous examples.
I remember you told me that. You can go to her site. You can get merch there. Yes, they have wonderful merch. Oh, it's a cute one with them as a cartoon being married. I might have to get that shirt. And different things. So you should go and look that up for yourself. Again, it's www.patricethemovie.com. Also, again, you should go watch the movie.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
It's so good. It made me laugh. It made me cry.
And it's visually very... I loved the visuals of it. I thought it was fantastic. But yes, clearly it brought up a lot of thoughts. It's so relevant right now and even previously, but right now especially. So go check it out. If you have any thoughts about it, please let us know. You can email us at hello@stuffnevertoldyou.com. You can find us on Blue Sky at Momstuff Podcast or on Instagram and TikTok at Stuff I Never Told You. We're also on YouTube, and we have a book you can get wherever you get your books. Thanks as always to our super producer Christina, our executive producer Maya, and our contributor Joey.
Thank you.
And thanks to you for listening. Stuff I Never Told You is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, you can check out the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.